Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. Pod Up, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
Good morning and welcome to a Tuesday edition of Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. It's Tuesday, you know what that means. We'll be joined here in just a minute by good old Buddy Martin from the Buddy Martin Show. If you missed it last night, it looks like it was the last game for Big Ben Roethlisberger for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They go out with a victory. They're still slightly in the playoff hunt. A lot of things have to happen. But let's go ahead and let's head on down to the Titan MRO hotline. We're joined by Buddy Martin, who has been on about a month vacation. Welcome back, Buddy. How are you?
No, I wouldn't know much, Shane. You know that, but it sure felt like it was 11 days. That's about as long as I've been away from everything. And I had to plug back in and figure out what's going on here. I wasn't sure what this microphone was for, if it worked, whatever. But, yeah, you joined me on the program last night. And interesting conversation. You know, Shane, when you push back and you just walk away from it for a week or so, you get there's pluses and minuses. The pluses is you get a fresh thought. The minuses, you forget where you were and you got to go back and pick up and say, oh, yeah, wait a minute. And this is the most volatile time in the history of college football with so much going on. I don't even know the teams, let alone the coaches and players. So it's been a bizarre time, but I guess a good way to look at it is you get a fresh perspective.
Yeah, as you mentioned, it's the craziest college football's ever been, and we got some Facebook Lives brought to you by Meldon Law, the only official personal injury law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Lauren says, "What's up, Shane and Buddy? Headed to Ocala for work today. Maybe Buddy will take you out to lunch, Lauren." But Chris says here, Caleb Williams, the number one overall recruit that would play for Oklahoma this year, he's in the transfer portal. And word is it, Buddy, he's going to end up at Georgia because they're going to pay him a lot of money to go there. Now, this is where it's going to start bothering me, getting out of hand. Because who's to say? Let's just say he does go to Georgia and they're paying him $1 million, $2 million, whatever they want to pay him.
Right.
He can transfer again next year somewhere else that gives the highest bidder. They're going to have to put their foot down at some point. Also, some people in the transfer portal. Dylan Gabriel, the old UCF quarterback who transferred and committed to UCLA, changed that. He's now going to Oklahoma with Jeff Levy, who coached him at UCF. And then John Rice Plumlee, who was a quarterback at one time, went to slot receiver. He's transferring from Ole Miss. So, Gators picked up a transfer yesterday. They're going to pick up a few more. But, Buddy, what do you think about – I have no problem with kids transferring, but now we're going to get into this bidding wars, and I don't know what the solution is.
Well, look, nobody does. Like I said last night, we're trying to construct a new narrative for the Florida Gators, just starting right there. And that's enough to focus on about knowing, look, I can't even tell. Forget the players. I can't keep up with the coaches. You know, there's so many of them now that I don't know these people. These are your Florida Gators that you played for, my school. And I know it's the way. Look, you can't be that get off my lawn guy. You got to understand change is imminent. We're right in the middle of the biggest changes, most volatile changes in the history of the game. You think we're lost. How about these coaches and these athletic directors? I don't know the answer, but it is what we wanted. Capitalism. We got capitalism, you know. You like the idea of a player being able to transfer. I like the idea of the player being able to transfer. But we have these unintended consequences you just talked about. There has to be somebody in charge. The problem is there's nobody in charge of college football. As we know, the NCAA has no clout and nobody's running the hen house. So it is what it is. It's a daily challenge. You don't know what to do. There has to be some kind of regulation. Now, do you want the government in charge of it? No. We don't want another post office. So it's just going to have to sort itself out. And it's going to be a tumultuous time. And here's the thing about it. At the core of this is what this game is all about, which is the fans, the players, the universities, the great game that is college football. That's what it's about. The problem is, how do you govern it? It's like being the governor of New York City, of New York State, and Sid, the mayor of New York City. How do you govern something that big? I don't know the answers. Is it better or is it worse? I'm not sure about that. So I guess the answer to that is that we'll have to wait and see and go day by day, stroke by stroke, like you do when you're a quarterback, play by play, and see where it leads. But you better not blink, because if you blink, you're going to be left behind. And I think there's one thing about Billy Napier. I don't think he's blinking. His scared bunny quote. So I think it's going to be interesting, fascinating, and scary.
Yeah, scary is the word. John says we need a college football commissioner. I could see Greg Sankey in that role. That would be great. Somebody's going to have to sanction this stuff, because I got a buddy who covers sports, played a long time in the pros out in the Dallas area, and he works for somebody doing different blogs and things. And he's like, Caleb Williams is going to the highest bidder. That is what he is doing.
That's the game.
And right now, the word on the street is Georgia is the highest bidder at this point. Now, we don't know what that money is. So I text a buddy of mine saying, well, can Florida get in the mix? They're like, Florida won't get in the mix at all. So it's crazy to me, buddy. I think that kid's extremely talented. I thought he'd end up out at SC and he still may end up out at SC with Lincoln Riley, who initially recruited him.
I thought that was the play. Yeah.
But Lincoln's got, I don't know if he's got the number one quarterback in America who's from the state of California committed to him. I don't know if it's for this class or the following class, but he's going to get a lot of dudes out there. So it's bizarre. Somebody said here a few minutes ago on Facebook Live, brought to you by the only personal injury attorney of the Florida Gators. That's Melton Law. John says, who was in the Raging Cajun Twitter space last night? Those fans are big mad over Billy taking all their staffers. I don't know what Twitter space or any of that means. I guess.
Well, let me explain it to you. Since I'm the guru here of social media, Twitter has a new thing where you can log on and have a conversation. You can go live and do your own show on Twitter, okay? Basically.
Well, we're on Twitter right now. I guess, are we on Twitter Spaces then?
Well, but I don't think you're on Spaces, though. I don't think you have them. But Spaces is a new, what little I know about it, according to my son Brendan tells me, is that you can have your own kind of talk show on Twitter. There's enough places to go that I had Twitter. But anyway, there's too much to keep up. Look, I'm still trying to get over the fact that we lost three icons, like they say. They go in threes. John Madden was a real blow. And of course, Dan Reeves, who I like personally a lot, covered him at the Broncos. And of course, Betty White, right before her 100th birthday. So, like I said, change is so volatile. But you better be keeping up, Shane. You can't be an old curmudgeon like you. You got to be a young guy like me and understand the importance of things like what's the trend. I want you to loan me some money so we can open a new food store, a Cajun food store on Archer Road. Because there's so many Louisianans moving in here now, you're bound to be able to get you some good Cajun cooking out of there, and you're going to make a fortune because we got a whole bunch of people coming from Louisiana to Gainesville. It's already happening. And the latest one, have you ever known the guy who played for Florida or coached Florida named Bird?
No,
Bird?
No, he's our new one of our new recruiting guys from the Lions, correct?
Bird Sherrill. He's I guess JUCO, guy and transfer portal guy. Now you got it's smart because there's so much to keep up with. You better not just know who the fifth best wide receiver is in the country, but you better know who the fifth best wide receiver is in the portal. There's so much paperwork and bureaucracy. And I think Billy may have the right idea. I don't know. I don't know enough about it, but you got to have people signed to these tasks. You better keep up. And here's the thing I want to see. I want to see his organizational chart. Okay. I want to see who answers to who's in charge of this. You can't tell the coaches without a program now. I have no idea. I'm still trying to figure out how their offensive side is structured and who's running the defense, what's going on. But it sounds like, again, we don't know from what we're hearing from our friends. You talk to your buddy. I talk to my friends as well on the show. I read social media. It sounds like, from what we know, that Napier is on it and doing well. You like him, what you know about him, but you don't know him, and neither do I. And I warn you again, although I think it's easy to fall in love with somebody right now, just like it was with Dan Mullen. We fell in love with Dan Mullen after 2 years. We thought, well, he's the next Nick Saban or Steve Spurrier or whatever. And guess what? He wasn't. And then when it came down, it all came down. So don't blame Gator fans who are by the way, are still here, haven't gone anywhere. And they're looking to see what this program is going to be. And you got to be, let's say, rather than being skeptical, let's say they have to be cautiously optimism. I'm going to repeat that phrase 1,000 times between now and the end of next year. Because as much as I think I really like Billy Napier, I ain't ready to start building no statue yet.
No, not at all. So, buddy, we got a Facebook Live here. Joseph says it's one thing to take their coaches. Taking so many ULL players in the portal is scary. Those guys were recruited by schools like ULL for a reason. That's not true, though. The two that we are getting are highly, highly graded and ranked or whatever by the NFL guys. So, here's the thing. A lot of the ULL players are better than our players right now, folks. A lot of UCF players are better than ours. So it's going to take time for him to get the correct type player for Florida. But in the meantime, you got to want him to get the better player, the better athlete. And that's what he's doing. John says he was listening to a recruiting podcast. A question was asked, how much does NIL have to do with recruiting? The guy said 99%. I guess. But like I said, right now, I can understand Caleb Williams being money thrown at him. But do we have anybody on our roster that you would throw money at, buddy? We have nobody that's proven anything.
I don't know who's on the roster anymore. So I guess Diabate's talking about Auburn, which is where he's from. I see Francis Collins this morning, Gator Bait. Jacob Copeland, I'm not sure how he wound up going to.
He went because Mike Locke is a very good recruiter, and they'll throw it around. He'll be perfect at Maryland. Perfect. Yeah. Perfect fit.
Chris Bogle, Michigan State, apparently. What have you. So we'll see how we just don't know. We won't know until really they tee it up in the fall who's on the roster. So there's no such thing. This term now in recruiting, which is what has never been bigger than before because it's at two levels. It's at the high school player level, and it's the current college roster level. It's never been more important. Information is going right and left and everywhere, trying to figure this all out. There's no way we can know what this team's going to be. There's a term now in recruiting called, I guess, crystal balling. You heard that? We crystal ball that Shane will be going to Ole Miss next year, which I didn't. I've been in this business a long time. I've been prognosticating for a long time. I ain't never had no crystal ball, but I guess it's a new way of saying, let me guess at this one and see how it sounds, okay? Where are we crystal ball? Where is Caleb Williams crystal balling to? We have no idea. There's not to say some big alumni at Penn State doesn't say, hey, I got $1 million I want to spend on NIL. Let's get that guy to Penn State. And you're right. That's what it is. It's now on its free agency, college football. Get ready for it. Here it comes.
Yeah, Andy asked here on Facebook Live, brought to you by Melvin Law, is there anyone on our roster that would start at Alabama? The answer is maybe one, Kaiir Elam. They've had some issues in the secondary, but nobody else would start. Nobody else would start at Georgia either, in my opinion. Daniel says he ordered Outback last night online. They had Emory Jones and Anthony Richardson meal, among others. I know Anthony and Emory are doing some kind of charity event at Outback. And, so in your college towns, you're going to have the Outbacks and the mom and pops and things of that, doing some kind of NIL deal with these players, which is great.
Right.
Which is great. But we're not talking millions of dollars like some of the other schools are doing. Right. You can go get all-you-can-eat chicken at Raising Cane's or where, we don't have a Raising Cane's in Gainesville, but I'm talking to some of these other college towns, they do. So those NIL deals are scattered everywhere. I'm talking about the ones that are going to be, it's ridiculous now, in my opinion, but that's what college football is going. And that's why Caleb Williams is going to go to the highest bidder. And there is no telling how much he's going to make. All right, buddy, let's switch gears because we can talk about that. I want to talk about the bowl games. There's been all this conversation that there's way too many bowl games. I disagree. I love the bowl games. It's a reward for a lot of schools. I don't care what anyone says about the Bahamas Bowl. I don't want to watch, Eastern Michigan play Middle Tennessee State. Look, you may not be a fan of those schools, but those bowl games are important to those coaches and those players. It's a memory of a lifetime for them. And if you don't want to watch it, don't watch it. But I don't think we have too many bowls. That's just my opinion.
Well, I thought about this last night because we had a pretty healthy debate about it on my show. And you're more than of the let's play them. Let's play 1,000 bowl games, try and put them on. I admitted to you that I watched most of them. And I'm the guy who says, you got to clean up the schedule a little bit here. And the thing I go back to is the schedule of the regular season games, because the guy putting the dollar on the line is a fan. They're the one who's spending the money. It's a lot. It's expensive to buy season tickets. So you can't have those cream puff games on there and, play 4 directional schools. You have to have worthy competition, which is why I love the 10-game schedule in the SEC. I thought they'd be able to sustain it, but they're not going to be able to do that. So, yeah, bowl games, they have but here's the other thing, Shane. It's not just the players and the coaches. How about those communities? Those people go out and work like crazy to get exposure. Florida, especially, because everybody wants to come to Florida in January and December. And so the state of Florida has benefited greatly. I mean, how many bowl games do we have in Florida? About 8? I don't even know. I couldn't count it. And so, but yet there's some places we laugh about, Shreveport, Louisiana. Listen, those people have worked really hard to keep college football going without a whole lot there in Shreveport, Louisiana. So I say I'm for the communities. I'm for the coaches. I'm for the players. I just think we have to be realistic about what is good television, what is good football. And I guess, as you say, they draw ratings, they get numbers, so they'll keep having them. I just think it's time for a class distinction. I've said this for 30 years. There's big boy football, there's a national conference, and there's the other league. There's room for the other league in the bowl game, just not in the prime of my time area.
John says, just look at the TV ratings in those bowl games. They're easily the most watched on TV over golf, NBA, whatever else. Yeah, it's not even close. Just because some family in Tampa, Florida doesn't want to watch the Birmingham Bowl, so be it. Don't watch it. But I enjoy watching it because I think it's great for college football. Turn your car or truck into a rolling billboard for your business or brand with an eye-catching vehicle wrap from Wrap Spot. This January, mention promo code Shane, receive 13% off your vehicle wrap. Speaking with the great Buddy Martin here on Titan MR Hotline. All right, buddy, back to the bowls. Okay, you were talking about the dollars that the boosters pay for the regular season games. I guarantee you, we're getting ready to get to the point, because this is where I argue with people about the so-called, quote, meaningless bowl games. Because I go back to the Florida, I'm going to look at our schedule here. At one time, we were sitting at what? Were we at 3-4, buddy? Did we ever have a losing record? Or were we always hovering around 500? I can't remember.
This year?
Yeah. Let's see. We were 2-0, 2-1, 3-1, 3-2, 4-2, 4-3. We were 4-4 after Georgia.
Right.
Going to South Carolina.
Right.
I believe that's right.
And
okay.
I think you're
so
right,
my point is, what is the difference in player X when you're sitting at 4-4 at a school like Florida? You have zero chance of winning the SEC East or the SEC. What is the difference of you sitting out the November 6th game against South Carolina? What is the difference between that game and playing UCF in a so-called meaningless bowl game?
I think one's an add-on and one's part of the deal you sign on for. You sign up, you play.
But my point is, you sign on for it, but you can sign out of it at any time you want.
Yeah, it's not a good look, as you know, and I know. And any agent would tell you to quit on your team in 9th game of the year is a terrible thing. Look, the whole concept of team football and team sports is built around commitment to your teammates, right? And that's what kind of commitment do you have now? I go a step further there. I say when you sign the scholarship, there may have to be another contract where you sit down and you say, okay, I will commit to up for 9 games, whatever it may be. And then, it may be open to the highest bidder. What if a guy says I'll come back or I won't come back based on my NIL deal? It's a dangerous territory. The difference is the bowl games are simply for everybody else's benefit, not for the player per se, if it's not a meaningful game. I'm sorry I differ with you about that. Let them play the games. But you have to have the enlarged playoff. I've said it 1,000 times. With 12 teams, you won't have the opt-out problem. The problem, my guys, you're damaging the whole core values of football now when you say, well, I've got to sit out the game 5 and 6 because we play Alabama with the phone. No, you can't do that. And there has to be some kind of control over this whole issue. I don't know the answer. I'm just saying, your dad was a coach, you were a coach, you know what it's like. You have to know what you have, what kind of commitment you have from your players. When you're committed, you play. And that's the big question now about Matty Corral. He felt committed. He played. Kudos to him. Was it smart? I don't know. It was in his heart to do it. He did it. You make a good business decision. I don't know. Looks like he's going to be okay. But that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about chump changer. We're talking about millions of dollars at stake for young men and their families who put a lot of time in.
But like I told you last night, the Matt Corrals of the world have insurance policies.
I know, but they can get you by for a couple of years. And then that's
right. Okay, but my point is, okay, let's say Matt Corral gets drafted, wherever he gets drafted, and he gets a $10 million signing bonus. Mm-hmm. Okay, he plays, he breaks his leg and can never play football again. Mm-hmm. He's not getting his contract. That's what people don't understand. There's no difference than him getting hurt in college and collecting on his insurance policy, and then getting hurt in the NFL. It may be a little bit
guaranteed
more
money, right?
The only guaranteed money in the NFL is your signing bonus.
Less substantial.
But okay, so I can take out a policy if I'm a college athlete for $10 million, pay the premium. If I get hurt, can't ever play again, I'm gonna collect $10 million. Okay. Matt Corral gets drafted in the first round, wherever, he gets $10 million. What is the difference?
I guess your commitment to your teammates. I don't know.
No. I'm just saying that I think people have the misconception. I understand it's about taking care of your family when you go and do it professionally, but there's no guarantee. The only thing that's guaranteed is your signing bonus. I could sign right now with the Jacksonville Jaguars, buddy, for $10 million. And I could get, if they didn't give me a signing bonus, I may not get any of that, and it's prorated by each week. It's prorated for 18
But what are you
weeks.
saying? What are you saying, Shane? I don't understand what you're saying. You're saying
what
it's
I'm saying
okay.
Is people talk about when these kids go to the NFL, or they're taking a risk because they have an opportunity, they may get hurt. Okay. My point is, you get in the NFL. Okay. Let's say, I don't want to use Matt Corral, I want to jinx him. Let's just say player X gets $10 million to sign. He plays, he hurts his neck, can never play again. Okay. He's going to get a settlement. He's not going to get his entire contract, is my point. Everybody thinks just because you sign on the
What would you advise him to do? What would you advise him to do?
The advice that I would give, even if it was my own son, is you play, because you're going to regret not playing with your teammates in college. And I still go back to, I disagree, and nobody will change my mind, that the South Carolina, the Samford, the Missouri game meant anything different than playing at UCF. You're still going to, when you are recognized as a Gator, your name is going to be right here, and you played on a 6 and 7 football team. Y'all were not very good. And just take the Gators out of it. It could be anybody. That's just my personal opinion. And if my son was a first-round draft pick and he wanted to play, I would let him play, because he's got every chance of getting hurt, working out in a combine, going to the combine, playing in the Senior Bowl. And then you could get hurt your first game of your rookie year. Yes, you have some money, but you'd have the same money if you had taken out a policy in college and got hurt. That's where I'm going with it. Maybe I'm the idiot, but that's just my my stance.
Well, I hope we haven't come down to that. I hate to see players opting out in game 5 or 6.
Well, you're going to see it because they're going to have to, in my opinion, they're going to have to, the NCAA is going to have to do something, and it's going to have to become like a contract like the NFL. I just told you,
I said,
the NFL, you get paid by week. If you get cut week 2 or 3, you don't get the rest of that contract. So my point is, and I know it sounds terrible, but if they're going to be paying these kids millions of dollars now, and they're going to be able to pick and choose where they want to go to school, okay, you're going to get X amount of dollars towards your education or your school for, if you opt out for these 2 weeks, you got to pay us back. That's the only thing I think they can do.
I understand that. I'm not against it. I think it's probably a good idea. And I think it'd be some fiscal responsibility that goes to that scholarship. Maybe they can't be tied together exactly, but you got NIL deals. What you going to do if you sign up with, Chris Spears Automotive, Prestige Auto, and you get a car and you got all this stuff, and you say, you got it for a year and you quit after game 5. What happens to that deal?
You should have to pay it back, or you should have to do something. Eric says right here on Facebook Live, I do not see how these changes to college football are positive. It's all about the money. Go to the NFL then. Being a student athlete is being thrown out the door, in my opinion. I agree 100% with that, because here's the thing, buddy. Everybody's goal is to play in the National Football League. There's only about 1% that will make it, okay? So my point is, in his point, these kids ain't going to be going to college. I mean, they're not going to be going to class. Yeah, they may just show up and do what they have to do just so they're eligible to play, but they are not worried about it at all. All they're worried about is how much money I can make while I'm in college, and I hope I get a chance at the next level. So I don't know what the right answer is. I just do not like people opting out. I just don't.
That ship has sailed. That ship has sailed. That's what it is. It's how you govern, how you look. I'm sitting there reading Francis Collin this morning. He's done a really great job of just telling us who the players are on the roster, which is refreshing to me. I mean, if I say you name the receivers coming back next year, how many could you name? What would your lineup be? And then Francis has got Justin Shorter, Trent Whittemore, about Jamarcus Weston, Xavier Henderson, Jaquavion Frazier's are some are coming back, and then you got the guys that are assigned: Marcus Burke, Richard Freeman, and DeJon Reynolds. So just keeping up again with that position alone. I don't know. I can't keep up. We're just going to have to play it every day as it lies and see where it takes us, which is why the whole narrative of what Florida football is and what it's becoming is fascinating and yet scary, because we don't know yet. If I said to you last night, I said Florida has used Alabama and Georgia as its standard. Are we just fooling ourselves here? Should they be using Tennessee and Texas A&M and the second level teams as the teams they got to do better than? Because they're not going to beat Georgia and Alabama in my lifetime, I don't think, unless Billy Napier's got some magic up his sleeve. So it's really going to be interesting to see what we crystal ball for these Florida Gators. We don't know the coaches, the players, or anything else yet. There's a lot to be sorted out in the game, as we talked about. I don't know. It's puzzling, and yet still is a great game. I'm interested to see where it goes. But boy, oh boy, the whole thing with NIL, we've just scratched the surface, haven't we?
No, it's and Lauren says here, college is the last time it's fun. Once you get to the NFL, it's all business. I agree. These kids have no idea how cutthroat the National Football League is. Mm-hmm. They don't give a damn where you're drafted. If you don't produce after a couple of years, you're gone. Tyler says opting starts with the parents watching too much TV, then goes to the culture of the program and not confronting the problems. I agree with that as well. All right, buddy. So I just want to get your thoughts. I want to get some questions to you from the NFL, but Georgia, Alabama play Monday night for the national title.
Yeah.
As of right now, who does Buddy Martin think wins that game?
Alabama. I just think I think he's got Kirby's number. And I saw a Kirby Smart I didn't know in the last game. Did you see him go off as quarterback at halftime because of the clock situation? He wanted to score, and he wasn't getting out of the minute. Hadn't having a sense of urgency. Who's running the show there? He's screaming and yelling and whatever. That's not the Kirby Smart I know, at least.
Yeah, I think there was some miscommunication between the people signaling in what they wanted to get done, and Kirby had a different idea. My thoughts on the game, I know everybody thinks Alabama's going to win. I think Georgia's going to win. I don't want Georgia to win, but I think Georgia is the better football team. And the reason I say that is, so the defense that Kirby runs, Nick built it. He knows all the schemes. He knows how to attack it. And Kirby and them didn't make the adjustments that they needed to do in the secondary. Remember, that's how they won the game, is Bryce Young throwing the football. Well, Mechie's out. You could tell it hurt their offense against Cincinnati. But what was glaring to me, and I talked to two buddies of mine that played O-line in the National Football League for a long time, and they agreed, the front three and the twist in the games and the stunts that Cincinnati threw at Alabama gave them chaos, gave them so much problem. Bryce Young was not comfortable in the passing game at all. I think you see Georgia implement some of those schemes to pressure Bryce Young. So we'll see. I just think Georgia. My eyes tell me Georgia's better. Alabama might win, but I think Georgia's going to make some adjustments. They learned a lot from that game one, in my opinion.
Well, they still got to deal with the fact that their front seven is great, but got a back four too, and that's where Nick Saban's smart. People say, "Well, their front seven is going to front seven." Well, they did, but the back four didn't do quite as good, and he picked them apart. He found the vulnerability in that secondary, and that's what a great coach does. And until I give the advantage to the coaching staff of the Crimson Tide until further notice.
No, I agree with that statement there, but I just the pressure that they put on Bryce Young Saturday or whenever that game was played, I was shocked, and he was so uncomfortable. I hadn't seen him uncomfortable like that all year in the pocket, and he didn't play great. They didn't throw the ball well. They hit a couple of deep balls, but other than that, they struggled throwing the football.
But they ran the football in Robinson.
But they ran because Cincinnati runs a 3-3 stack. Georgia ain't running a 3-3 stack.
Well, there you go. There's always something, isn't there? I mean, they found a hole in it. You know, they found a way to deal with it.
There's only two teams that run a 3-3 stack in college football, and I don't understand why. Cincinnati and Iowa State.
You like it?
I don't, because it's good in high school. A lot of teams run it because you can bring blitzes from all different places.
Yeah,
you usually don't have great offensive linemen a lot of times in high school.
Right.
I don't like it. Cincinnati does a great job with it. They got two really good corners as well. But I'm just saying the stunts that they brought out of that in passing situations. Alabama couldn't block them. And so I think Georgia can take some advantage.
What's the line, by the way? Is it still 2.5 or whatever that was?
I don't know. I know Georgia's favored.
2.5 last time I heard. But hey, I'm just trying to get used to the fact I'm back in Florida. I don't know. I'm just trying to wake up this morning doing Shane's show and say it must be Tuesday because I'm on Pot Up with Matthews. Now I got to figure out what's next, which is tonight. Show. We'll just go from there and see what the week brings. Look, I'm not burnt out on football. I got to stop and think about it this weekend a little bit. I think we still got NFL to play. Is there another season, another weekend of NFL? There is, isn't there?
Yeah, one regular season game, then the playoffs start.
Oh my gosh, that's one too many. They should have cut it up.
All right, we're going to do NFL real quick. Joseph says Georgia doesn't have the DBs to run 3-3. I'm not saying Georgia's going to run the 3-3 stack. They're going to run a 3-man line in passing situations.
Yeah.
Basically, it's a 3-4, folks, in a passing situation. And they can bring all different twists and stunts and games and people off the edge. That's where Alabama, if you go back and watch the game, they had trouble blocking Cincinnati in the passing game. All right, buddy, real quick before we let you go, I want to get your thoughts on the NFL. The Bucs win. They lose Antonio Brown. He's got some problems. We all know that. They got problems on defense. Serious problems. And with Antonio Brown not being on the team now, and with the slot receiver from Penn State, I can't think of his name right now, with him out for the year, I got my concerns about the Buccaneers. They ain't beating the Packers.
I would agree with you. I think the Packers look really, really good right now, and I think the QB is the man. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is clearly the best quarterback. No disrespect to Tom Brady. He's done a fabulous job. They're missing some players on defense with Shaq Barrett, a bunch of other guys. But, and I would right now in a head-to-head game for the NFC Championship, I'd take the Packers because of Aaron Rodgers. And by the way, they're pretty darn good on defense, too. I think the underrated part of that Packers team, and my son-in-law is a huge fan of the Packers, he's from Wisconsin, is the defense. That defense is really good. As we saw, of course, they were going against a pretty sorry offense from the Bears the other night. So, yeah, I like that. I'm still interested to see. I don't know how the Cardinals pulled off what they pulled off because I would think by now Kyler Murray would be so beat up he wouldn't be able to finish the season. But they're still in it. And now we get to dial in for another couple of weekends of the NFL. Who do you like going to the Super Bowl, Shane?
Well, I picked the Rams and the Buffalo Bills with the Bills winning it all in August.
Good pick.
I still think Buffalo has a very good chance of getting there. Rams, I think they can get to the championship game. They'll have to go to Green Bay. Stafford's used to playing in the cold, so we'll see. But I think Aaron Rodgers, I think he's phenomenal. And what he's done with the Green Bay Packers is it's remarkable. So I'm still going to stick to my guns. Buffalo winning it all. So
a nice little team. I tell you, Josh Allen's a heck of a player. I mean, he brings the dimension. A big quarterback who can run like he can and throw the ball like he can. But I got to pick the Pack overall. I picked Kansas City and the Rams originally, but I'm going to change that now. I'm going to go opposite. I'm going to go with the Packers. And I like your Bills a lot, but I'm still going to see if the Chiefs can pull it off.
All right, buddy. Good stuff as always, my man. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you next Tuesday, and we'll have a national champion from the Southeastern Conference.
Yeah.
Hang on.
We're going to do something.
Do you realize that it's going to be the 12th time in the last 16 years SEC won the national title?
Yeah, I did know that. Yes. That's an amazing fact right there. By the way, my friend, you and I got to work out a schedule for next Monday night because we're not going to broadcast.
Oh, you're right.
Game. So we'll do an early show or something on the Buddy Martin show that day.
Okay. All right, buddy. Appreciate it, my man.
All right, Shane. Thank you. Have a good day. Good week.
That's Buddy Martin. Join us on the Titan MR hotline. Going to take a time out. Come back. Got a bunch of Facebook Lives and Titan MR texts I got to read. You're watching and listening to Pod Up with Matthews in the morning.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, won't back down. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Great Clips, it's gonna be great. Our Gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, South State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Doreen Wiebe Realtor, Caldwell Banker, MM Parish, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Rap Spot, Aikido America, Gators Dockside, Style Cuts, Big Mills Cheesesteaks. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit podupwithshane.com and click the advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Celebration Points where the Gators go to celebrate with premium brands like Nike, Regal Cinemas, Le Macaron, Dave & Buster's, Medici's, Palmetto Moon, and the HBC's restaurant Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. We'll see you at Celebration Point where the Gators go to celebrate. Facebook Live here, brought to you by Meldon Law, the only personal injury attorney, law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Brad says the Bucs defense didn't give up a touchdown for 8 quarters leading up to the Jets game. If they get healthy, they'll be fine. I don't know if they can get healthy, but you got to remember those 8 quarters were against 2 teams that I don't think they scored a touchdown last week, and they played each other. It was the Panthers and the Saints are awful, awful offensive football teams right now. So I got concerns about the Bucs. I don't know if they. I don't think. I mean, we'll see. But I think with Godwin being out, it kills them. Absolutely kills them offensively and defensively. They got some problems. It depends on how they're all set up, who they play first round and all that kind of stuff. But I don't see them winning in Green Bay this year if they make it that far. There are a couple of Facebook Lives here. Joseph says, I bet Georgia would love to have Jason Marshall in their secondary right now. Jason Marshall is a very good player. We talked about guys that could start for Alabama or Georgia. Basically, it's only two folks. It's Jason Marshall Jr. and Kyrie Elam would play. Whether they start or not, it's hard to say. And then I think Dameon Pierce would get a few carries here and there. But boy, both those teams have some really good backs, tons of backs. John says on Facebook Live here, brought to you by Mellon Law, QB, how much national interest is there in the national championship, or do you think only the Southeast cares? I think only the Southeast cares now because, as that stat I read to you a few minutes ago, 12 of the last 16 did I read that correctly? 12 of the last 16 are from the SEC, but then you throw in Clemson, who's won a few. Yeah, the rest of the country struggle. Look, the best football is played in the Southeast. Let's just be honest. The best players around here. I know Texas. I guess Texas is not considered the Southeast, even though they're in the Southeastern Conference now. They got good players in Texas and California, but you come here in the Southeastern part of the country, phenomenal football players. Daniel says, yeah, but the Packers D's beat up on Minnesota, who's playing with a QB I've never heard of. No, I agree. Minnesota's horrible on offense too. My eyes tell me the Packers are better than the Buccaneers. Doesn't mean they'll win the game. Text on the Titan Mar text line. Don't know who this is from. They want to know, what are my thoughts on the LSU game tonight? LSU plays in the last bowl game tonight against Kansas State out in Texas. I read where LSU is only going to have 39 scholarship players available. So play your walk-ons. They're going to be playing a walk-on at quarterback, I believe. But I think Kansas State will win the game. They're that kind of team that's going to care a little bit more. I don't think LSU cares one bit that they're in this game. They got the better athletes, even though they only got 39 scholarship ones. But Kansas State will probably win the game. I forgot that game was on tonight. Another good bowl game to watch. I know a lot of people don't care about it, but I'll be watching it. If I can stay up, it doesn't kick off till 9 o'clock. At Chris Doring Mortgage, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today at 352-244-0840. We're going to have Chris on this week. We don't know which day yet. Trying to work it out with his schedule. His company, Chris Doring Mortgage, is sponsoring the Steve Spurrier Coaches Award, which goes out to this is the first year of it. It goes out to the coach that the top coach in his first year at his job. So the three finalists were Gus Malzahn, UCF, Josh Heupel, Tennessee, and Shane Beamer, South Carolina. I don't know who's going to win it. I don't know if Chris is going to tell us or when they're going to announce it, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm predicting that Shane Beamer wins that. So we'll see. John says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon Law, the only official personal injury attorney partner of the Florida Gators. What do you see the Bengals doing in the playoffs? When was the last time we saw a number one seed with 5 losses? Yeah, the Titans are locked in right now at the 1 seed. I don't know what all has to happen this Sunday for them to retain the number 1 seed. Probably just win, I would think. Bengals are dangerous. Boy, do they have some skill guys on that team. I don't know who the Bengals will be. I guess we got to wait and see the matchups are week 1 of the playoffs. But the Bengals are very, very dangerous. Joseph said Trevor Etienne got a crystal ball to the Gators. Would be a big pickup to sign him. Yes, I don't know anything about it. I think he's a running back. Travis Etienne was a tremendous player. If he's anything like his brother, we'll take him in a heartbeat. Daniel asked, Shane, do you think Naquan Wright could be our feature back next year? I think I don't know what he's saying there. Maybe Alvin Kamara, kind of like Alvin Kamara. Yeah, he's not as powerful. Alvin Kamara has the best balance of any football player I've ever seen. And his forward lean is ridiculous. But Naquan's a good player. I don't know. I've never heard the status of his injury against Florida State. I like Naquan Wright. I know for a fact he was the smartest running back on our roster from a football IQ standpoint. I know the players love him. And so we'll see. We'll have to bounce back after his injury. But yeah, he's a good player. I like him for sure. Let's see. Got to read this one right here. If you've got joint pain in your knees, shoulders, hip, or back, that won't go away. You need to check out QC Kinetics for long-lasting relief. No surgery, drugs, or downtime. Schedule a free consultation at QC Kinetics, 352-400-4550. Cliff wants to know, why do they play the national championship game on Monday night? Tuesday is a work day for most people, and the game usually will last till about midnight. Why not play on Friday or Saturday? I agree 100% with that. I wish they'd play on a Saturday night, but I guess from a rating standpoint, maybe somebody else knows, but I agree 100% with that. Why they want to play. That thing lasts forever. All those TV commercials and things of that nature, it drives you crazy. Let's get to This Day in Sports, brought to you by our good friends at Comfort Temp. Comfort is our business. Peace of mind is our promise. Comfort Temp's now hiring team members with all levels of experience, $1,000 signing bonus for qualified positions. Give Comfort Temp a call, 352-376-2366. This Day in Sports. See how many of y'all remember this. 1999, college football, first BCS National Championship game at Sun Devil Stadium. Any of our listeners know who played in that one? The Tennessee Vols beat the Semis 23-16 for the national championship. T. Martin was the quarterback, and that was Tennessee's last national title. So that's brought to you by our good friends at Comfort Temp. First BCS. A lot of people want to go back to the BCS. I don't know what the answer is. Yeah, John says a college football commissioner would fix the Monday night game. Yeah, Monday night is, I don't know why they do that. It's terrible. I agree 100% with it being terrible. All right, we're going to take our final time out, come back, clean up the rest of the show, wrap it up, take a few more comments and questions. You're watching and listening to Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, won't back down. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Great Clips, it's gonna be great. Our Gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, South State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co. Some of our touchdown sponsors are MB Listing, McDonald's of Gainesville, My IT Masters, Gainesville Neon and Signs, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Avra and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Ruse Ogra Agent, State Farm Insurance, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit podupwithshane.com and click the advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Are you tired of being sidelined by nagging pain? Hi, I'm Emmitt Smith, Hall of Famer and Dance with the Stars champion. Happy to tell you about QC Kinetics and their biologic therapies for treating pain without drugs or surgery.
Are you suffering from chronic pain in your hips, knees, shoulder, or lower back? Are you tired of living with arthritis pain? QC Kinetics offers natural pain treatment that can repair and restore damaged tissue in your joints.
Listen, I know pain, and I've seen firsthand how powerful biologic therapies can be. Patients at QC Kinetics rave about their result because they're getting their lives back. They are getting moving again.
These exciting regenerative treatments used to be available only to pro athletes like Emmitt. Now they're available to anyone thanks to QC Kinetics. Call today for your free consultation.
Get long-lasting results from my friends at QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics 352-400-4550. In North Central Florida, call 352-400-4550. QC Kinetics 352-400-4550.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. At South State Bank, we understand that small businesses need a community business partner they can rely on. South State has 4 convenient Alachua County location. South State Bank, banking forward, member FDIC. Again, I want to thank Buddy Martin for taking the time to join our program. Got a couple of Facebook Lives before we get out of here, brought to you by Melton Law. Eric says, any word on who is interviewing for the Jaguars head coaching job? I know they have interviewed Doug Peterson and have interviewed Jim Caldwell. I know those have already been done for a fact. Someone here mentioned Byron Leftwich, Todd Bowles' names are there too. Yeah, but they're still playing right now. I'm sure they'll get an interview once the season ends. But officially, they have interviewed Doug Peterson, former Eagles coach, and Jim Caldwell, who I guess he was only the head coach of the Colts, but he's a really good coach for quarterbacks and things of that nature. So we'll see. Annie asked, Facebook Live brought to you by Melton Law, who is the NFL MVP? Brady, Rodgers, Cup, or Taylor? Ooh, that's a good question. I'm going with Aaron Rodgers, although the other ones have had tremendous years. Joseph says, Shane, what's your thoughts on Emory not hitting the portal yet? You think he may end up staying? Look, here's the thing about the portal, and I think people forget this, and I think kids forget this. This will be the last thing before we get out of here, is once you enter that portal and the school that you just left, basically you don't have a scholarship anymore. There's so many kids that go in that portal and are still sitting in that portal. So not saying if Emory goes in the portal, nobody's going to pick him up. I think he's played enough football that someone will give him a scholarship opportunity, but he may love the university. Who knows what he's taught with Billy Napier. I think there's a chance that he could go through spring football and see. Maybe Napier wants him to compete. I don't know. But it's I thought he'd already gone in the portal. I guess it's not official. But I think kids, you got to be careful when you leave an opportunity where your school is paid for, that you may not get another opportunity and you may be back home and then trying to figure out how you're going to pay for college yourself. So that's something that kids forget about. Hope you enjoyed today's show. Hopefully tomorrow, Gators kick off SEC play against Alabama. Hoping to have Chris Harry from FloridaGators.com, who's been with them. It's been about 2 weeks since we played a game. So we'll talk about that. A lot of SEC games tonight. We appreciate you tuning in. Today's show's a wrap, brought to you by Wrap Spot. See you tomorrow, folks.
Trying to get the fans fired up. 2nd down and 10. Matthews rolling to his right, in trouble, can't find anyone. Now he throws it for Harrison Houston, who makes the catch. He's in the open field. Harrison to the 20. They're not going to catch him. Touchdown, Gators!